Everybody says take a deep breath, but what does that really do? Like, does it really mean anything? Yes, quite a lot actually. Breathwork is the #1 pain-fighting labor tool, and lucky for you, it's super easy to learn. You already know how to breathe. It's just a matter of tweaking a few things to get those pain-fighting results. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to transform your birth experience for the better using the power of breathwork. But first, my name is Maria. I'm a birth doula and Lamaze-Certified Childbirth Educator, as well as owner of the app Natural Birth by Echo, an evidence-based resource with all of the tips and tricks you need to make your unmedicated birth a positive one. Okay, why is something as basic as breathing such a corner piece to the pain management puzzle? It's actually super fascinating, and my nerdy side is about to show. When you breathe, you get what? Oxygen, duh. As you breathe, your blood oxygenation levels increase. More oxygen in your blood is calming to the parasympathetic nervous system. What is the parasympathetic nervous system? This is the area of your brain that governs fight or flight. When you're in pain or you're in danger, your parasympathetic nervous system is screaming. It's gearing up to face something really, really bad. It's a survival mechanism. When the parasympathetic nervous system is calm, your brain believes, I am safe, I am secure, and I am comfortable. Now, in this calm, comfortable state, your brain begins to release endorphins, which are the happy hormones. Endorphins put you in a good mood, they make you cheerful, and they suppress pain. Endorphins suppress pain. So let's back up. When you breathe properly, you oxygenate the blood, which calms the parasympathetic nervous system, which then releases endorphins to naturally lower pain. This is why breathwork is your best pain-fighting tool. In fact, it is foundational to every other coping mechanism. I know that the app has a bunch of essential oils you can use, acupressure points, music. You can do all of that, but if your breath work is out of whack, your heart rate will go up and your brain will prime itself to experience pain. On the flip side, when you're breathing well, you're already relaxed, then the soothing scents, the sounds, the acupressure, all of that can actually be effective. When I had my first baby, I had been faithfully practicing my breath work for months, so I'm in labor, and as each surge comes on, I take a deep breath in, I loosen my body from my head to my toes, and I add some visualization, and bam, one more contraction out of the way. It was so effective that at one point I thought, am I in actual labor? Like, isn't it supposed to be harder than this? So the next contraction, I put it to the test, and I allowed myself to give that contraction a typical pain response. I did not breathe deeply. I tensed up and I winced, and I responded to that contraction the same way I respond to stubbing my toe, and it was hideously painful. I struggled through those 60 seconds. No wonder women say childbirth is so miserable. What I just went through is not manageable. I am not doing that for hours on end. And you best believe that I went back to my easy, slow breathing. I managed every subsequent contraction naturally, and I gave birth to my baby girl on my own terms. Which, how do you do that? How do you breathe? As if you didn't know how to breathe already. But for real, I thought that I knew how to breathe. During that first pregnancy, I really wasn't a believer in the power of breath work at first. I read the books, I saw the studies, all the things that highlighted the importance of breathing in labor, and I was like, all right, cool. Wasn't planning to stop breathing anyways, so I think we're good. I actually thought this way for several months until Sam and I took our birth education course, and our instructor explained breathing in a way that finally clicked for me, but not at first. When she first explained breath work, it sounded really hippie, really weird, and I was like, yeah, okay, sure, that's effective, and sure, I'm gonna be doing it for hours on end. So while I was busy being judgmental, she had us do a breathing exercise, and oh my gosh, 10 minutes later, I was converted. I was so relaxed, so in the zone, I felt like I could tackle anything that labor might bring. Needless to say, we got really good at the whole hippie breathing thing, and I was able to use this very powerful tool when it did come time to have my baby. Now, if you want to get really good at breathing for pain management, you're not gonna learn everything from a single video. That's why the Echo Natural Birth course exists. It walks you through daily exercises scientifically proven to change your brain chemistry, to better withstand the intensity of labor pains. If you're interested, I've got it linked below, but there are a few tips that I want to share with you now just to get you started. Okay, first tip, number 1, breathe in through your nose. By breathing in through your nose, you force your diaphragm to open bigger and wider, which allows you to get up to 20% more oxygen. 20% more oxygen. Remember how I said blood oxygenation helps to release the pain-fighting hormones endorphins? So by just inhaling through the nose, you automatically get up to 20% more. This is such a quick, easy hack to help calm the parasympathetic nervous system, release those endorphins, and lower pain. So if nothing else, just breathe in through your nose. Tip number 2, belly breaths. I'm willing to take a bet that as you're watching this video, you're breathing with your chest. Everybody does it, it's okay. An easy way to tell is by placing a hand on your chest as you inhale. If your hand rises with your chest at all, then that's chest breathing, and it's not doing you any favors, I'm sorry. Instead, keep your hand there, let the air fill your belly, and make sure that the hand on your chest doesn't budge as you practice taking those big belly breaths. This takes a little bit of practice and some focus at first, but you will be a pro after like 5 minutes, I promise. It's a simple way to ensure that all your air is going to your belly, and the reason you want to do this is because belly breathing is yet another way to help you get more oxygen into your system, which, as you know by now, means less pain. So tip number 3, hold the exhale. Hold the exhale just a second or 2 longer than the inhale. This is powerful, and I will tell you why. Think about it. When you watch a scary movie and there's a big jump, what happens to your breath? You go, you gasp. It's a quick inhale, and that inhale tells the brain something scary is happening, and it starts priming itself for danger or pain. So what if you do the opposite? If a sudden inhale tells the brain to be on alert, then a long exhale tells the brain, calm down, we are safe. For example, late in my second pregnancy, we actually had a pregnancy scare, and I had to get an emergency biophysical profile. It was a very triggering experience, and it sent me back to the trauma that I had with my first baby. So for several hours, I was on edge worrying, and the results came back perfectly clear. My baby was fine, and you know what I did? Huge sigh of relief, long exhale, and that is just a normal response when all is well, and it tells the brain you can relax now. So translate that to birth. When you hold the out breath for just a second or 2 longer, it tells the parasympathetic nervous system, everything's fine, let's calm down. So as you breathe in through your nose, get those big belly breaths, remember to make the exhale last a little longer to maximize the pain-fighting effectiveness of each and every breath. All right, now that you know why breathing helps lessen pain, as well as a few tools to make it work, you want all of this to be an automatic response when each contraction comes on. A 2011 study had participants practice mindfulness and breathing techniques every day for 8 weeks, and at the end of the 8 weeks, when they were exposed to a painful sensation, their brains did not produce a pain response. Over the 8 weeks, they had taught themselves to breathe effectively, focus, and they had literally rewired their brains to process pain as just another sensation. And that's exactly what we do in the Echo Natural Birth course. Over 8 weeks, we practice our 10 mindful minutes. Every day, you're given a follow-along exercise, breath work, mindfulness, visualization, all of the hippie little things that I judged when I first got pregnant. These exercises build on each other, so you start with easy foundational stuff, and over several weeks, you become a master at using breath work and other techniques to effectively cope with labor when the time does come. Now, none of this is hard. It just takes consistency. 10 minutes of the right kind of practice every day are going to get you where you want to be. I guarantee that when you go through the course and work through the exercises, not only will you manage pain far more effectively, you'll also know how to navigate interventions, gather support, and to gain the confidence you need to have the kind of birth that you want. So the link is below, check it out. If you liked this video, you are gonna love my other stuff, so hit subscribe to get the evidence-based tips you need to have the kind of birth you want, and I will see you next time.